Wow, I'm super delighted to be here. And I'm so sorry about the glitch we had last week when we were trying to go live. I'm Nancy Ekpezu, and I'm the lead consultant at Ekpezu Smith Consulting. And with me tonight is an amazing man that I came across in a professional group, and we've been able to establish a wonderful professional relationship. And I'm talking about no other person than Mr. Adeleke and Adesina. Doctor, actually, Dr. Adeleke Adesina. And so I'm going to introduce myself briefly. I introduce him and we go on right to the topic today, which is tips on structuring your school business. Tips on how to structure your school business for sustainability and profitability. And so I'm Nancy Ekpezu. I'm the lead consultant at Ekpezu Smith Consulting. I'm also the convener of the Facebook group Educational Administration Network. And I'm the author of these three amazing books, Dear Educator, The School Administrator's Companion, and Effective Boarding House Administration. And in the course of my doing businesses and interacting with school owners, I have found that one of the key problems that schools have is the lack of structure. And even though we bring this as some big thing, as civil structure, and everybody's like, wow, structure. It's actually something that is useful for the organization to function effectively and to stay sustainable, even up to the point when the others have passed on. And one of the intriguing things I found out when I met Mr. Dr. Adesina was that he actually does have businesses that he runs, and they're not in any way dependent totally on him, because he has a structure that makes things to work. So I'm going to allow Mr. Adesina come on. He's going to talk about himself and what he does, and then I will introduce the topic officially. He starts off right with the topic, and I take that a recap after, and then we'll introduce you to a few other things that we will be doing. So, Dr. Adeleke, could you just tell us a bit about? I know you run 5 companies, and I know how amazing these companies are doing, because I remember asking you, oh, how do you manage to travel to Rwanda, to Tanzania, South Africa, and you're all over the place, and your businesses are just blooming and doing so amazing and attracting clients, whether you're there or not, and sales are going on, marketing is going on, and a whole lot. The operations are moving just smoothly. And I'm so happy about the things you shared with me, because even though I've always known that I had a need to put structure in my business, and my business does have structure, but you brought it to a new dimension that I was like, wow, this is something a whole lot of other people need to know about. And that's why we're doing this collaboration together, to make sure that we bring this level of awareness and enlightenment to school owners, especially, because a lot of other people see their businesses as businesses. But I think there's something about passion and school business that just doesn't allow people to build the right structure that they should have. So let's hear you, Dr. Adeleke Adesina, about your businesses, about what you do and how you've been able to structure your businesses and for them to be running, so wow, even in your absence. Okay.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mrs. Ekpezu. I'm so delighted to be here tonight. And yes, we're talking about structuring business. As Rally introduced, I'm Adeleke as additional, and I'm a life and business systems coach. So over the years, I've just thought that I was created to create systems. And by building systems, started when I started my first business. In fact, I started my first business before I even got to the university. I finished at the University of Lagos. And while I was about going on that, starting my program there, my business was running, and I asked myself, do I have to sacrifice this business for my academics? Another question came, can I actually combine the two together? Most times we go with the or instead of the and. We go with the or instead of the and. I said, I do school or I do business. But I added that dynamics to read that I can actually do both together. I only need to find out how And that was when I discovered, the power of systems and structures. And I was able to put those systems in place such that even while I transited between two states, between Lagos and Ogun State, such that when I'm not around, the business can run well, and then my academics also can still run effortlessly well. And it did for 4 years. For 4 years, my systems were running, my business was running then, and then my academics also was running smoothly, that I finished as the best student in my department. And I was retained by the university. That's how I got my lecturing appointment. I was retained by the university, had my master's, finished as overall faculty best student in my master's program, even made the 5.0 CGPA in my graduate semester, and then my PhD also made the 7.0 for my coursework while still doing business. So I was building business and studying at the same time. So, and that is what the power can do. So we are not sacrificing one for the other. So rather than going for all, you're actually doing and we are synergizing and together. And from running from that one business, I was able to start the second one from an academy. It was an academy, from an academy to from one center to another center, 2 centers. And from there, we evolved into a school, from a school into a consulting firm, an education consulting firm, from there into a publishing company, and then from there into corporate consulting, which is Adeleke and Adesina company. So these are my 5 businesses that are running effortlessly, while I'm also a full-time lecturer in the University of Lagos. So that is just a background to me. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Adeleke. I like the part where you said sometimes we choose this or that, but that you rather choose this and that. And that really struck me, because I know times when I've had to let go of opportunities in my business in a bid not to take on too much. But, with the level of structure that you have in your businesses, I do know that I can actually take on more and not choose this or that sometimes, so long as in line with, the things that I do, but rather to choose this and that. Okay, thank you so much. So please, if you're joining us, kindly say where you're joining us from. Just say your name and where you're joining from. I see Uncle G, I see Liliana name, I see Faith Olatunji, I see Ozoilo, I see Esther Awoleshi, and so many other people here that have joined. And I'm so sorry, I need to apologize once more for last week, but despite that, you had so much trust and faith in us, and you have joined us again. I see there are already 10, despite the short notice. I just announced this. Okay, Uncle G is joining from Ibadan. Thank you so much. Ozoilo is joining from Lagos. Thank you, Ozoilo, for joining. And please, you can share the link so that you invite more people. The more we add, the merrier. Thank you so much for joining. So we're going to go on right away. Just keep introducing yourselves while we go on. As you join, just keep introducing yourself. So I would like us to now go on straight, and Dr. Adesina is going to share tips right now, how he's been able to do it. He has given us an intro about the fact that he has 5 amazing businesses. And I must tell you, they are not the type that you just come and pay peanuts. He's an internationally recognized coach and trainer. And in the past few months where I have known him, he's been to several countries. I remember chatting with him and he said he was in Rwanda. And the next thing is in another country, and then he's here and he's there, but he does this so seamlessly. I had to wonder, like, wow, this is a level that I also want to take my business to. And so it's amazing to see someone is already doing that. But there's a question I would like to. Okay, so Lillian is joining from the United Kingdom. Oh, thank you so much, Lillian, her name. Thank you. And Faith is joining from Lagos. Babatunde is joining from Lagos. Thank you. We have 11 of us now, but I'm sure we'll get more. It's because of the short notice. Usually our webinars have up to like 100 people sometimes. I've hosted webinars where we had between 70 to 80, but I know it's a short notice, really. Okay, so could you just go on? I need to ask a very important question. If you have a school, or you're a school administrator, maybe you're a proprietor, a proprietress, or a school administrator, a top management staff, can you conveniently leave and travel for 3 months without bothering every day to have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, to micromanage everyone, tell them what to do, give directives, and all of that. Can things go on seamlessly in your absence while they just report to you everything that is going on, like giving you feedback? Do you have a system in place that enables you know what is going on, what is happening, if payments have been made, if they have not been made, who is owing in your school, who is not owing, and you just relax there and know that things are going to go on fine. If you have that kind of structure, just say, yes, I do. And if you do not, please just say, I have not yet put the structure, but I would like to. And at this point, I'm going to invite Dr. Adeleke and Adesina to come and do what he knows to do best, which is to teach. He's so passionate about this. Honestly, he has a course on it. It's on his YouTube channel. He doesn't know how quietly I've been following him and just, picking things from what he does to compare notes with what I already do. And I see that we have similar mindsets about structure, but he's gone a whole lot ahead of how I have done it. And that's why I've invited him to do this. Okay, so please go on and just give us tips on how this is done. I don't know if you have slides to share or whatever surprise you have for us, but we are all ears and we are all waiting right away.
Okay, thank you once again. So I'm just going to pour from my art, no slides tonight. I'll just pour from my art. I will just talk art to art. So yes, I celebrate everyone in the room already. I know we have more people joining in from the community. So we can only see 11 air, 10 air from the Zoom, or more are joining on the Facebook Live. So it starts first, building a business that can thrive without you starts with the mindset. With the mindset, that is where the journey starts from. In this part of the world, in this climb, business owners have the mindset that they have to be around for things to run. Oh, if I'm not there, nothing will work. Oh, I must be around. If I'm not there, my people will not do the right thing. My business cannot run without me. If parents don't see me, they will not bring their children. I must be around. I must be around for them to see me. It's a myth. It's a myth. I used to have that myth too when I started 15 years ago, because I was passionate about what I was doing, that I built the business around me, and the true test came. I had to leave for my education. So what happens to my business? And that was what the reality came, that, wow, does it mean that if I'm not around, nothing will work? So that myth has to be debunked first. You have to say to yourself, my business can run without me. Can you type in the chat box right now? Just type in right now, my business can run without me. My business can run without me. Type in the chat box. No matter what I say tonight, if you don't debunk that myth, if you don't uninstall that mindset, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So type in the chat box. I want to see in the chat box, my business can run without me. My business can run without me. That is where it starts from. It starts from the mind. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you believe it can run without you, it will run without you. And I am a living testimony to that. I'm a living testimony to that. By God's grace, in the last 15 years that I've been doing this, I've never had any headache, not being around, and then my business struggling. No, because of some of the things that I'm going to share with you tonight. So it starts from there. Yes, I see Ozoilu, I see Lillian. Your business can run without you. Look at some of the great guys celebrating the world today. Jack Ma, the former chairman of Alibaba, retired in 2016 from Alibaba. Steve Jobs died, some years back, and Apple is still running, waxing strong. Bill Gates stepped down in 2020, from being the chairman of Microsoft. Jeff Bezos stepped down 2021 from being the CEO of Amazon. And these companies are still running. Because the question is, what kind of business do you want to build? Do you want to build a business that can just stand for just a short time? Or do you want to build a business that can run, that can stand the test of time? Businesses that 100 years from now, look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been on for over 100 years. Companies like P&G have been on for over 185 years. And these companies are still waxing strong because they are built on structures. So there are entrepreneurs who are doing this. There are business owners who are doing this, building businesses that are thriving without them. And if they can do it, if I can do it, you also can do it. So it starts first with the mindset, with your mindset. Believe first that your business can run without you. Believe that your people can do the right thing when they are not there. The only thing you need to do is to put systems in place to help you monitor, the processes when you are not around. So I'm just going to lay that first. It starts with the mindset. It starts with the mindset. Before we dive in deeper. Over to you, Mrs. Nancy. Your mic is muted. Your microphone is muted.
I really like this part of, starting with our mindsets, because the truth is our minds control everything we do. Okay, whether your business is even going to be successful or whether it's going to be, mediocre, everything depends on your mindset. And so whether your business is going to be structured and sustainable also depends on you. And at the point of starting your business, if that wasn't done, it can be done anytime that you wake up to the reality that this is how business is really done. Maybe you started with the level of ignorance or some very little knowledge, and there was no coach or anybody to guide you through that process. But then the light comes when you encounter people who have done it successfully. I may not telling you what Mr. Adeleke has not done. He's sharing exactly what he has done in his own businesses, his 5 businesses. They all have structures and they're all running. So it all starts with the mindset. Just right there, my business can be profitable and sustainable. Can you type that in the comments as we go on now? Because he's going to be sharing other tips. So it starts with a mindset. The mindset that yes, this is how it is. And yes, my business can be profitable and it can be sustainable and it can run without me being involved every day and micromanaging everybody. Thank you for those nuggets, Dr. Adesina. So can you share more? They're eager to have more. We just want to milk you dry. But we can't milk everything now. So you just share the tips that you can while you're with us today, okay?
Okay, yes. So once you have established that mindset that my business can actually run without me, the next thing to do is find out how. So I established that yes, I need to believe that my business can run without me. In fact, when I was about going to university and I got the admission, there somebody came and asked me, how are you going to combine these two together? And then as a believer, a scripture came to my mind that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That I can do all things through Christ. I only need to find out how. So what did I discover in these last 15 years? I discovered that one way to make your business run without you is to build systems. Is to build systems and structure into your processes. So what are systems? Because that was a turning point for me. Understanding how systems work. Prof, you are welcome. Prof Obi, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Understanding what systems are and how to build them into your businesses is very, very key to building a business that can run without you, especially in this 21st century, where there are powerful digital tools, where there are powerful business process management softwares and applications that you can use to systemize your processes and get feedback from anywhere you are in the world. It does not matter where I am, whether I'm in Rwanda or in Canada or in UK, I can monitor what is happening in my business without having to be there. I can see what is happening. So what are systems? There are 2 dimensions to systems thinking. The first dimension is that we can see systems as a body, just like the human body. Your human body is a system. It's a system of other 10 interconnected systems working together. A system is a body of interconnected elements that are working together to achieve a function, a purpose. So the human body has other 10 systems. The respiratory system is there, the nervous system is there, the system is there. All of these systems are working together to keep you alive. And I usually say this, that God himself is a systems thinker. God himself is a systems thinker. You know, the Holy Book tells us that in the beginning, he created the heavens and the earth. For 6 days, he was building systems. And on the 7th day, God rested. That is the most powerful business model in the world. I put out a post in the course of the week that as a business owner, you have 3 tasks. Create your business, you know, grow your business by building systems and structures, and then rest from your business. Rest from your business. So everything in the world operates on systems. In fact, the universe itself is a system. Day and night is a system. The solar, the solar mechanism is a system. The seasons are systems. So we live in a world ruled by systems, and even you, as human, you are a body of systems. A body of systems. So the same way, your business are working together, that are working together, you know, to keep your business running profitably. For example, you know, sales and marketing is a system. Recruitment is a system. You know, your financial processes are systems. You know, all of these are systems. The operations are systems. You know, these are all systems. They are working together. They are working together to keep your business running profitably. So once you see that your business is a system, it changes your approach, that everything works together. Everything is working together. I say that a business, you know, is a set of repeatable processes that are working together, you know, to create wealth for you. So that is the first dimension. Your business is a system, is a body of other elements working together, you know. And then secondly, you can also see systems as a way of doing things in your business. First, systems as a body, and then secondly, systems as a way of doing things in your business. So in that dimension, systems can be defined, you know, as structured, documented processes. So there are 3 elements there. You have processes. Processes plus structure plus documentation. I'll repeat that again. Processes plus structure plus documentation. So in your school business, there are processes. Your processes are the routine activities, the routine day-to-day activities that keep your business running. For example, in a school, for example, teaching and learning is a process that happens every day. You know, procurement is a process. Admission is a process. Recruitment is a process. All of these are processes, and they are there in your business. But are these processes structured? Because most times in businesses, we have random processes. And when your processes are random, you cannot get predictable results because it's not structured. That is where the structure comes to place. Oh, your processes are there. Are these processes structured? Have you created, you know, the workflow into how these things are done? How do you admission? What are the steps to pupils in your school? What are the steps? Do you have a framework for recruitment? For example, let's say for the recruitment system, for example, let's say the first thing you do is to identify the needs. That, oh, we need a particular teacher, or we need a particular, you know, there is need for a particular position, and then that is one. Then the second thing is to identify what are the competencies, what are the requirements that whoever is coming to fill the position must have. You state that out in clear terms. And then after you've done that, you place adverts. That is a system. You place adverts. The next step identify all the necessary competencies and requisites for that position. And then the next step, you place adverts. You place adverts, for people to apply. And then when people apply, what do? You shortlist based on the applications, those that met the requirement based on the applications. And then from there, they come for the interview. And your interviews can be in 3 steps. You can have the written test, to test their mastery, because you cannot teach what you have not mastered. And then from there, after they've done written test, they move to the next stage, which could be, the micro teaching, to test their pedagogical, content knowledge, how they can communicate and deliver what they know, because many people know, but they cannot communicate what they to the learn. So, and then from there, you cannot have the last stage, the oral interview, where you ask some questions to know whether this person is the right fit for your business, whether this person share, your ideologies, and then you can synergy. And from there, once the person goes through all of these processes are graded. And then you would have determined the grade. For anybody to come into your school, you must have 80%. So if the person meets 80%, that means that you provide, that means that move to the next stage of connecting the person, let the person know that, based on your performance in this in our recruitment process, we are giving you an appointment, professional appointment. Confirm the appointment process, which you can write them out. You can see, I've just listed them out like that. So that is where the next phase comes in, documentation. Now that you know how this process is run, can you document them such that anybody can pick that document and run with it? That is where your SOPs come in. So by the time you have these processes structured by writing out all the steps needed to operate these processes, and then you document them in your operations manual. We have what we call the operations manual. The operations manual is an authoritative guide, a document that shows how everything is done in your school business. And in the section of the manual, you have the system section. So all the systems that you are creating, you document them in that section. Like the recruitment system you have done now, you document them there. The admission system you have done now, you document them there. Especially the school fees collection system. Most schools struggle with collecting school fees because they don't have a proven system for school fees collection. So these 2 elements are the foundation to systems thinking. Systems as a body of interconnected elements working together to achieve a purpose, and then systems as a way of doing things, as a process, as documented, structured processes. That means the processes plus structure plus documentation. I hope that makes sense.
Wow. I was actually taking notes. And I want to add here that, yes, this issue I've talked about school fee collection is a very, very major one. I remember telling somebody that I led a school with over 1,000 students and we had 100% fee collection. And they looked at me like I fell from the sky or something. And I said, yes, there were over 1,000 students. And I did achieve as the administrator with my team 100% fee collection. And that was because we had a system, we had financial policies, we had, times when students should pay and all of that. And honestly, we are going to be teaching you a whole lot of all of these things. It's not just this webinar. There's so much more coming, okay? This collaboration is going to really help you to get your school right when it comes to all of these things, getting it right with your finances, having structure for your procedures, your policies, and even performance management. That is one of the areas that, I would really love to touch on. Because sometimes we have all of this documentation, and documentation is absolutely important. You cannot do without documentation. Even today, I had a meet and greet right here. I mean, I'm actually in Abuja. I'm not in my home in Lagos at the moment. And, all the people who bought the books, I kept telling them, please send your email here because I need to send you a receipt. Everything has to be documented. And they said, wow, this is the first time they're having a program with a coach or a trainer, and the person is telling them to get their emails for the purpose of sending receipts. Even if the book is 3,000 or 5,000, you will get a receipt from Ekpezu Smith Consulting. That is because we have a system for documenting things, you know, and we must know who and who, how many copies of our books have been sold, who and who. But you know, in some schools, even uniforms, the way that is done, no documentation. A student just comes, they carry one, take as you resume. No receipts for some things. You can't even say whether you're making gain or losing. And just because people are paying fees in your school doesn't mean that you're gaining. You know, there has to be a system of documenting everything, of planning, of budgeting, of documenting things, of knowing policies, of knowing when parents should pay, when you can, you know, give a little discount on what. Everything must have a system. You don't just wake up and take decisions based on your sentiments, because that's how a lot of schools run. The day the owner likes your face, she greets you very well and hugs you. The day she doesn't like, she can just lay you off. No exit procedures, no procedures for recruitment, for onboarding, for getting people in and them knowing your culture and what you stand for, your values, your mission statement, your vision, and all of that. And this shouldn't be at all, because really a school is a business. It's not just something you wake up and do because you're passionate. I've had the opportunity of working with quite a number of schools. And one of the things that when I ask school owners, why did you start? They say, I'm just so passionate about the children. And I tell them, you know what? When push comes to shove, that passion is going to wane when you do not have a system, because you'll be so overwhelmed. You need to even have a system for how you spend, your procedures for procurement, for buying things, for deciding how much should be spent and how much should be kept back in a school. So you must have a structure around everything that you do. I've met a school owner that traveled to the UK and then the US, and she just bought things and bought above what the children even pay in the school. And she said, I just love the children. Oh, I just love them. I just love the children. You can love the children till the point where your school closes. And nobody is to blame except you, because you do not have system. If parents are paying for, if it's a school where they are paying 100,000 naira, and you go travel out and you just see things you see in the US or the UK, or you go to Australia, you see things and you just pack them and come and dump in your school because you love those things. How is it commensurate with what the children pay? You know, is there a structure? Is there something that guides how much you spend and how much you do not spend? So if you are just doing things out of sentiments, that's a very sure way that your school will not be sustainable. And that is the state where a lot of schools are. And so if they travel, they're in Dubai, they are busy calling. Maybe the head of school is Dupe. Dupe, what happened today? Tell me, please, when this man comes, tell him like this, don't tell him like this. Okay, do this. They just have situational solutions to every problem. They will sit there and just deliberate. How about having everything documented? I love what Dr. Adeleke said about documenting. You have to have everything documented. That guides others when you're not there. As small as Ekpezu Smith Consulting is, we have a handbook for our employees. Even for positions where I have not employed anybody yet, we have job descriptions for them. We have an organogram. We have a salary structure, and we have things that are going to guide as we start recruiting to grow the company, you know, and everything is documented, even our handbook, how much we pay our salaries, how much we cannot afford at the moment. And with the level we grow to this level, then we can afford this kind of salary. These are the guidelines. For now, we cannot provide medicals. And so if you need to have a surgery and you're an employee, I'm sorry, this organization cannot foot the bills for now. This is how much we can do for salary. This is what we cannot do. We cannot pay for your housing. This organization has not reached that level. But you know, you have something on ground to guide, so that anybody who cannot cope with that organization at that level knows that they do not belong here. I've been, privileged to be a recruiter for some organizations, and the owners were not even clear what they were going to offer the employee. They say, hey, just bring the person. I said, no, I cannot just employ you just like that. That's a lot of confusion. What if the person is looking for a job of 750,000 and you are looking, and you can only afford 150? So you'll be wasting my time because you do not have a structure in your organization. You must have a structure. You must have things that guide you. Documentation is a must. an absolute must. And there's just so much we can do in this session. We will not be able to exhaust everything. And so we have come up with something that is going to really, really help you. And I'm going to share. Let me see if do I have this here? Okay, I don't even have the flyer right here. Dr. Adesina, do you have the flyer for the event? On Saturday, the 29th.
Yes, permit me.
Okay.
Permit me to share.
Exactly.
Permit me
So
to
he's
share.
going to get the flyer. We're going to be having an event, a webinar, a 2-day webinar on the 29th and 30th of this month, next week, Saturday, where we'll be going in depth to teach, and then you have a chance to ask questions and share even your struggles, and we'll be able to guide you and help you put things right in your schools. Because believe me, I'm even in Abuja now. Today I spoke with a few school owners. It's the same issue. Some of them were even surprised that I issued receipts for all my books. And I said, yes, I can tell you how many books were sold from January to February, February to March, up till April this year. And the same right from when the books were published. And so you should be able to know if your school if you're making gain or not. Do you know some school owners do not even know when they are gaining and when they are losing? They'll say everything is just like that. We're just there in this country. But not every school operates that way. There are people who know exactly where they are at every point in time, because they can, if you ask them about their finances, they can tell you everything about what is going on. But some do not know. Some will use their personal accounts even to keep the school fees. And so when a cousin of theirs visits, they take money from there, buy malt, buy drinks, and they say the school is struggling. You can't even differentiate between your personal account and your business account. Even if it's a personal account and you have decided that this is strictly for business, before you now open a corporate account, please make sure that it is strictly for your business. And don't touch it or just treat it anyhow. You can open another person. Some schools start with a personal account, and then they can keep everything there. But make sure you separate that particular account from others before you open a corporate account and now move everything in. But for all that we're saying, make sure that your school does not operate based on sentiment. We see too much of that. I'm just passionate. I'm just passionate. Even when the head of school is advising the school owner, sometimes you say, no, she doesn't understand. It's my school. I'm the owner, and I'm very passionate. Even when they're watching everything go down, the slide, everything going down, they'll tell you I'm the owner, I'm just passionate. And then it gets to a point one day they'll come and whisper to me, Miss Nancy, I want to sell this school. Right now, there are at least 3 school owners who are approaching me that they want to sell their schools. And the truth is, when you now go, when I'm invited to do audits of these organizations, one of the things I see is that there is absolutely no structure. Everything is done haphazardly. And so they do not even know when they are making gain till it gets to the point where they are deep in debt, and then they want to sell the school and run away to Canada. If you have a thriving business, you really would not be thinking of just selling it. You really would not. No matter how challenging the times are, there are still schools that are doing well because they've been able to structure things. And the truth is, when parents come into your organization, they can tell when there's no structure. When the school fee, the financial policies would say, we don't collect cash. And someone comes, you just say, just collect for this one. If you don't collect, it will go. Then he tells another person, I paid cash. Then you now have policies that are on paper are not implemented. So at this webinar, one of the things that I will be taking is actually how to get people to do their job and stick to what they should do and evaluate them based on that. Because another thing we've also seen is that.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
Mrs. Nancy.
Yeah.
Can you enable me to share my screen so I can share the flyer to the program?
Oh, okay. Yes, I will do that right.
Screen sharing.
Yes, screen sharing. I will do that now. Where are the participants? Okay. So
On share screen.
okay, share screen. Okay, share screen. Sorry.
So you can just click on multiple participants.
Yes,
multiple
I've done
participants.
that. I've done
Okay.
that. So I'm
Okay,
allowed
so let me.
to.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, it's loading.
So one of the things we'll be looking at is basically all of these things he has said, but sharing in depth. You know, he'll be taking the full thing on structure, and I'll be teaching, and also how to stay profitable, because he will have to teach you how to manage finances and do all of that. I'll come in the performance management angle, how to get people to perform so that you can you evaluate them based on what is expected if they must be in your organization, and then how to stay sustainable. So we're working hand in hand with 2 days, Saturday the 29th, Sunday the 30th. So on Saturday to start at 10 a.m. and on Sunday at 6 p.m. West African time. People are free to join from any part of the world. Today I had an in-person event in Abuja. People were calling me from Jordan and Malaysia whether they could join. Well, you couldn't join the one today, but you can join this one because it's going to be streamed to the whole world, to anybody who is interested in joining. And it's going to be on Zoom. So it's actually 15,000 Naira or $30, depending on where you are. But we've decided to extend the early birds, which was to stop on the 15th. Some people have already registered, those who saw the flyer earlier on. But we're extending the early birds till tomorrow. Today is Saturday, till Monday by close of work on Monday. If you're able to pay 10,000 or $20, you'll be able to join. But if by close of work on Monday, and when I say close of work, I mean 5 p.m. on Monday next tomorrow, if you're not able to pay, then you will have to pay 15,000. But believe me, this is going to be worth your while. It's going to be worth your while if you follow through. It's one thing to attend a webinar, and it's a totally different thing to follow through. Today, I taught some people on ChatGPT how to use it in administration and and in education, and some people were so excited. Just before I started this webinar, some people had already started following through and telling me the results they were getting. I know some of them who will learn and just do a little and go and sleep. It's the same even with this webinar we're going to do. If you're going to do it and follow through on the steps we are going to guide you in, believe me, your school will stay sustainable. It's the same principles that apply to businesses, whether it's school business or whether you have a supermarket or whatever. There are principles for businesses. So structure can be built around a supermarket, it can be built around a school, it can be built around any business that you desire to be sustainable. So please, we're going to share, please share the link right there, Dr. Adesina, share the link.
Oh, yes, you can pay to this account.
You can pay to this account. Please take screenshot it or just write it down right away. There's also a seller link.
Yes, I will share it in the chat box.
That leads you to where you can pay. So pay directly to Trex Consulting, FCMB, and this is the number here. By the way, this is just one of Dr. Adesina's businesses, Trex. He has 5 businesses he runs. This man you're seeing here. So don't take it lightly that in fact, it's a privilege for me to have him, to bring him to the education space, because some things have happened in the education space. Some people want to run away and go to where the money is. But for me to drag him and say, please come and do a session with me where we charge only 15,000 or 10, it has to be by the grace of God, because this is not what he charges for his sessions at all. If you have attended his master classes, you will know that there's none of them where he charges less than 50,000. That's the minimum you'll get to read this class. But you see, I have brought him, I had to beg him and bring him right here to be a part of this. So he has put it in the comments. Okay, take a snapshot of it, or click on it or whatever, but you can start paying right now to be a part of this. And please share with your colleagues If you're a member of NAPS or whatever association you belong to, it will be
Okay.
nice that you share. Okay.
Mrs. Nancy, yes. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
So for
please.
those, if anybody can pay in tonight, between now and 12 midnight, I'm going to give them my book, one of my ebooks, The School Performance Blueprint. Anybody who
Wow.
pays, yes, for free. Yes.
Wow, wow, wow. So there's
So
even a plus for being at this webinar, an
if
ebook.
you can pay tonight, between now and 12 midnight, if anybody who pays between now and 12 midnight, I'm going to give that book for free. So
Wow.
it is a book that shows you how you can attract and develop people for up performance in your school business. It's an amazing book. For those who pay between now and 12 midnight, you would get that book for free. So that is an additional gift from me to you.
Wow, wow. Please take note of that. If you're able to pay between now, this is about almost 8 p.m. West African time. This is about 12 minutes to 8 p.m. If you're able to pay now, between now and midnight of 22nd April, you get an ebook. But if you're not able to pay, and remember you're paying a discounted amount for the early bird, which is 10,000 instead of 15. So you say 5,000 naira. And you can have one or two other members of your team join, because sometimes, let me tell you what happens. When someone attends a webinar, the way that one person translates things is not the same way another does. So two good heads are always better than one good one. And so I would advise that you do not come alone. Enroll your school administrator or your head of school to also join so that they don't miss out. And when you're trying to put the structure, you're actually on the same page and you can work hand in hand with them, as against those who just do their things anyhow or haphazardly. And then you're trying to straighten things out. So it's always easier like that. So please share the account also in the comments, share the Stellar link. And this video is going to be on my YouTube channel and also on Dr. Adeleke's channel. So you can go back there to watch and get the points that we have talked about. But remember, the part that I'll be taking is actually on performance management. And if you've ever attended my performance management class, you will know that it is not fluff. It's not all of this Google stuff. It is something that I developed in a 7-step way, and I teach it with all the passion I have, because it's something I have tried and tested, and it has worked for me, in a school where I was an administrator, and I now teach it with confidence to other people. So we're going to take a few questions, because we have 10 minutes now to 8, and if you have questions about this, what we're going to be doing now, please share the slide okay, I'm sure they already have this account now. Could you just talk about the area you'll be focusing on in this webinar, Dr. Adeleke? So after that, we can take questions.
Okay, so I'll be focusing on how you can structure your business, how you can build these systems. I'll be showing you the 12 steps to building systems in your business with practical examples. For those who have known me over the years, I just don't share rhetorics. So I share what I've tested and what I've helped, over 500 entrepreneurs from all over the world with, what I've trained them on and what they have done, And then, like I said, the end goal is to have an operations manual for your business. Until you have an operations manual for your business, you cannot rest from your business. The operations manual is like the authoritative guide. It's like your business Bible. And it has 5 sections. I'll be letting you know what those 5 sections are and how do you build systems in each of those 5 sections, during this manual. And they'll also be sharing with you framework, templates that you can use, that you can follow, to build systems, especially school fees collection system. School fees collection system. When we're studying at our school, that was one of the first systems I built, because I know that people struggle with collecting school fees. School owners will collect school fees. So I'm going to share my school fees collection system with you that works. Framework, template that you can adapt and model, together with other strategies that you can adopt to structure your school business and for profitability. And this way, you can build other businesses. You can thrive. And then you can go on vacation, live your dreams, You can sleep with your eyes closed. There are school owners we work with that had high blood pressure, BP, because of their school, because they had a school. You don't need to have BP because you own a school. You understand? You only need to learn the right strategies. These things are working. I'm a living witness, to this, and I'll be sharing this and much more. You don't want to miss this. If you can pay between now and 12 midnight, for those who know, like you said, the list of my boot camp programs is 100,000 naira. It's 100K, not even 50K. 100, I don't really do all these 10,000, but we have to do this to help school owners. So, and this offer may not come again. May not even, after this one, we may not even have another one again. So maybe once in 10 years or once in 5 years. So take advantage of it now. The cost of losing your business is much more than 10,000 naira. Don't regret that. If I had known, I would have invested in this. Start the journey right now. And then this other thing, please excuse me, ma'am, that I've observed about school owners is that most school owners invest in building physical structure, buildings, gigantic buildings.
Exactly.
They don't spend time building internal structures. It's like having a body without a soul. Your system, the structures are the soul of your business. And that is why most of the schools, they get empty. People come in, they are attracted because of the structures. When they come in and they see that you don't have systems and structures, they go the same way they came. So don't just build physical structures, build operating systems. Build operating systems. Yeah, that's it from me.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Adeleke. Actually, well, I meant that his webinars are 50K, but when he has a boot camp, you can't have anything less than 100,000. That's what I know about him. So for him to come down to this level, I had to beg him that, please, these are school owners, you know how the education sector is and how the economy has been. And we decided to arrive at this very affordable price of 15,000, which even teachers can pay to learn how to, structure a school. So that if they work in one that is not structured, they can easily walk up to their owner and teach them, how it is done. So if you're able to pay between now and midnight, 10,000 naira early bird, which we extended, you get an ebook from him. Okay. And this extension of the early bird ends on Monday, the close of work. But those who will get the ebook are those who are going to pay between now and midnight. That's about how many hours? 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. Within the next 4 hours. You have the account number, so take your decision. So for now, we will now go on to questions. Ask us questions about what we have said this evening, and also about maybe anticipation, for the webinar. So let's hear from you. At this point, I'm going to unmute us. Unmute so that we can all. Okay, so you are now allowed to mute yourself. All right, so who has questions? Let's hear you now. Let's hear you. I'm so happy we even got this number, because the thing was, we just announced this like a few minutes before we started. Thank you. I can't say thank you enough for turning up. Thank you so much. Is there anybody raising their hands to say something?
If you have a question, you can put in the chat box. Also, if you're in a place,
yes, you can put it in the chat box or raise your hand up to ask. We'll be glad to answer your questions or your concerns. Okay, so are we there?
Are there questions or contributions?
Exactly. Questions, contributions,
or comments based on what you've learned tonight.
Exactly.
You pass some comments or the light bulb moments for you. What are the light bulb moments?
Yeah.
During the session tonight. Yes, let's have people. We have Ellen, we have Babatunde, Teresa, Kenny Gabriel, Lillian. So what are the light bulb moments for you tonight? Mr. Denekon, thank you for joining in. I see my people here. So, Mr. Olutaba, thank you for joining in. Do you have any questions or comments based on our discussion tonight, or questions, so that we can take this? We have less than 6 minutes. By 8, we want to be out of here, so we can go rest. Tomorrow is Sunday.
Yes, yes, yes. Any questions? Please type your questions in the chat.
You can put your questions in the chat, or the contributions too, if you have any.
Okay, Lillian says it's always an interesting moment with Mr. Adeleke. Absolutely, very, very, very. You can say that again.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Lillian. Yes. Ellen, do you have any question or contribution? I see your camera on. You want to share something with us? What you took away from tonight's session? You can unmute your microphone. Let's have you speak. So I'm bringing my teaching. I'm going to cost everybody in the chat box now. There's 1 or 2 persons now to speak, because nobody's talking. So Ellen, let's have you. What did you take away from this session tonight? You know, your contributions. You can unmute, Ellen. Yes.
It has really been interesting, though it was a little bit fast for me, but I really appreciate this. And it goes a long way to let me know that the real program will be more awesome. I really enjoyed it, and at least I learned something I'm going to take away from this webinar is the 2 dimensions of the business system. I also had a little problem with where we were talking about recruitment.
Okay.
I couldn't get much, but all the same, the little I got, I think I'm good with it.
What part didn't you get in the recruitment?
Perhaps I got carried away trying to write down some things, and I got identifying the need, the process of recruitment, like identifying the need, and under that, at least I got written test, micro teaching, and oral interview, which we have been doing in my school. But then I think you said more, which I could not really get before Madam came in, and then all the same, if you can run through that again, no problem. But if not, we hope to. I hope to wait. I'm sure you may be able to. You may talk about it the next Saturday.
Yes, yes. Just registered already for the program. Thank you for registering already for the program.
Right, thank you.
Yes, yeah. So on Saturday, don't worry, we'll dive deeper into it. Thank you, madam. Okay.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Lillian says, my take home is it is possible to run a business successfully without being around. Absolutely. Very, very possible. People are doing it, and yes, it's happening.
It is absolutely possible. Like I said, it starts with the mindset. It's in the mind. Whether you believe it is possible or not, it starts with the mind. Once you can break that self-limiting belief, that myth, you know, and go out to find out how, rather than saying it can be done, ask how it can be done. Find out how it can be done, and then you get to work. You get to work. Do you have further questions? So we can wrap up tonight. Mr. Aminu, you want to say something? Mr. Adeleke? Yes, madam, are you there? You can just share what you took away tonight. You can unmute your microphone. Mr. Adeleke or Mr. Lawale, you are there. I want to hear your voices. Let's hear your voices. We have just 2 minutes as we wrap up tonight. Or you can put in the chat box. So,
yes. Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Okay.
It's been another awesome time. Although I joined a bit late, but at least one major thing I picked from tonight, like an introduction, is about structure. It's about creating systems. It's about putting things in place to work. even when the owner is not there, things can always work. So that is, and it's just like a twist on the iceberg for the main training that is coming up.
Yes.
So always attended several programs of Dr. Adesina. I know that this one will not fall less of the expectation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I call it a night.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So this will be up on YouTube in case there's anything that you didn't get. You can check my YouTube channel, Nancy Ekpezu, and subscribe. Check Adeleke and Adesina's YouTube channel. What is the name of your YouTube handle?
Trex Consulting. Trex Consulting.
Trex Consulting. Okay, so check Trex Consulting and join and subscribe. Check Nancy Ekpezu YouTube channel and also subscribe. So at this point, we want to say that you be reminded that if you pay between now and midnight, you will get a free book from Dr. Adesina. And if you are able to pay between now and Monday close of work, you'll be allowed to pay 10,000 naira. But anytime between 5 p.m. on Monday upwards, it's going to be 15,000 naira. So thank you so much. These are just tidbits we have been able to give you. We intend to go in depth into the webinar. You saw that we wrote the starting time. It will last for at least 2 hours each of the days. And you will also get a chance to ask questions. So we didn't put 10 to 10 to 1 p.m. We just want you to be free to ask all the questions that you have, and we'll be there for you. Thank you so much for your time, and good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. God bless you. See you on Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.